So welcome everyone. I am your Pastor Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino Arawak, and this is Roots Revival Interfaith. We are a federally recognized church and religion based on the three truths in the universe. That is intuitive intelligence, numerology, and astrology. So hopefully you find a home and community here with us. I do want to encourage everyone to drop your prayer and healing requests. We do pray, manifest, and send healing for one another. And I am checking the comments section for about 2 weeks after this video is published. So if you're watching this later, feel free, okay, also to post your prayer and healing requests. We are an interactive church. I like to run the sermons sort of like a class. So I encourage you to start posting your questions, your comments now. I do try to get to all of them. The only issue here tonight is that I'm producing. And so I'm only going to be able to see your questions if they are here on one of the Facebook pages or on YouTube at Ask Ivy. All right, so you may want to get over there if you have something to say. Or if someone wants to be a moderator for me, that would be great. If you want to take people's questions and move them on over here to YouTube or Facebook, I can see them through StreamYard. I do want to ask everyone at this time to also please give this video a thumbs up, drop a comment of any kind. It helps me out in the algorithm. Donations are appreciated. And if you want to subscribe, that would be great. All right, so today's sermon topic is how to choose oneself over the world's endless demands. I don't feel like we need to break down and waste a whole bunch of time talking about how we self-sacrifice, how we've gotten into this mess. Everybody does it to some degree everywhere around the world, but if you are an American, it is especially bad. And I don't need to inform you on all the ways you're sacrificing your health, your mental health, your relationships, your sense of authenticity, your joy. I don't need to tell you. So we're not going to spend a ton of time on that. We're going to stick to the topic at hand, which is how do you choose yourself? How do you get out of that pattern that is so instilled in you from birth? Some of the early questions that came in for this show were really good. I'm going to read them off, and then I think there's one or two here I'm going to further develop later on at the end of the sermon, like I always do. I'll be taking your questions then. But to give you a better understanding of what we're going to be talking about today, the first question that came in was, how do you even know what you really want when the noise of others is so loud? Excellent question. I would add to that, and it's been there for so long. How do you even hear yourself when the noise is drowning out the real you and your desires? Okay, the second question that came in that I thought was really good. Esmeralda Marie Rivera, everyone. Say hi, Ezzy. Not today. Okay, could you thank you. All right. Second question that came in on this topic, how do I deal with guilt when I set boundaries and say no to people or situations? Plug. I ran a poll a couple weeks ago and you guys voted this topic in #1. But on that poll, the second place winner, which I'm going to be doing in July, the next sermon topic, is on letting go of guilt. So I'm going to focus more on that then. And the third topic on the poll, which will run in August or July, is on whether or not people are ill, have a low IQ, or are evil. How do you tell the difference between the three? All right, so little plug derailment there. Let's get back on track. The third question that came in that I thought was great They said, can choosing myself mean walking away from people I love? And the fourth question, excuse me, I was at a fire pit last night. The fourth question is, what practices help you tune back into your own needs and intuition? Okay, and so this is what today's sermon is really going to be about, breaking those down and a bit more. So let's get into it. Again, how to choose oneself over the world's endless demands. How did we get here? First things first, societal programming from birth has gotten you into a situation where you believe that in order to be a good person, a responsible person, upright, that you need to feed the machine. The machine being colonization, patriarchy, capitalism, and religion, for the most part. I'm going to leave it at that for today. I'm not going to get into all the deeper, sort of subsets of all of this. But essentially, through capitalism, colonization, maintenance, the patriarchy, religion, all this stuff that you're brought up in from birth, you are taught that, number one, you need to be a harder worker. You need to work harder. You need to stay in work conditions that are toxic for you, that get you nowhere. You need to stay there. Okay, this is about maintaining an unlivable amount of work to feed the machine. You're told without question that should you leave a toxic job and you don't have something else even better or higher paying lined up, you're irresponsible, right? Or you're a bad parent, or you're risking everyone's safety and security. I mean, we are shamed for not working harder. We aren't allowed. I know Europe has different standards, but especially here in America, for example, we're not allowed to rest. If we are resting, we are lazy. There's something wrong. It is considered honorable to be working hard all the time. So what are you up to? Busy, busy, busy. What have you been up to? Busy, busy, busy. It's not even work smarter, not harder. It's just work. Okay. So this is what people's entire identities are based on this, especially here, in this country. That's all they are. They don't have a soul. They don't have hobbies. They don't have good relationships. They just are work to the core of their being, their work, because they've been trained from birth that that's all that is of value about them. So their entire identity is caught up in work. Number two, we are taught to sacrifice for family. Blood is thicker than water. Never expose the family's secrets. Forgive people almost unconditionally. Family is the most important thing. Family is number one. It's family, it's country, and it's God. It's family, it's country, and it's God. That's creepy. And there's no value in that by universal standards, and the way it eats away at us when we're in a toxic family system is proof. New research came out that shows that relational stress is the worst kind of stress on the human body, causing horrible disease and illness. So, I would say I'd take it even further than that. Women especially, I'd love to hear from all the girls in the comment section. Women especially are trained to self-sacrifice from birth. You sacrifice for your dads, you sacrifice for your moms, you become, especially if you're the oldest daughter in the family, you become the caretaker, parentification. You sacrifice for the community. I mean, you sacrifice in every way, shape, and form. That makes you a good daughter, a good girl. And then we are taught to go out into society and do that for our lovers. So especially if you're straight, hetero, you're taking on typically a husband where you just kind of wipe his rear end and you baby him and he becomes one of the children, and you sacrifice everything for your children and your family and you never complain. And so this is why women typically die early from cancer, married women, and autoimmune disease. So we know that the sacrifice girls and women are expected to make is outrageous, but it's not spoken out against because it's upholding the entire machine. So I'm not saying it's just women. This is a show, topic for everybody today, but women in particular, you need to be watching this and analyzing when it started for you. Number 3, we are taught never, ever, ever to ask questions about the system. None of the systems. Don't ever think. Don't ever stop to process. Meditation is evil. Mindfulness is wrong. Take a pill and shut up. Here, I have a couple diagnoses in my pocket for you. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another pill. Here's another pill. Whatever you do, don't ask questions. Don't stop and think. Don't analyze anything that's going on. Just shut up and be part of the machine. Be a good cog in the wheel. So never ask questions. Now, this isn't hard to do. There are a lot of brainless, thoughtless people meandering around like zombies, just bumping into each other because they're tired. They're exhausted. When you're burnt out, you can't think. So problem solved. Okay, you can't think, nor can you pinpoint the problem and point blame and start to heal if you're not processing anything. So the exhaustion helps the machine stay in working order. And this is where I think a lot of people come off as being stupid or ignorant when really they're just like so beyond burnt out, they can't even think anymore, much less be good company or a truly good member of the community, have empathy for anyone else. They don't even have empathy for themselves. And then, yes, people also have issues, okay, with IQ. There is that as well. So I'm not letting anybody off the hook per se, but this is a big part of it. We are also told never to ask questions, but instead count your blessings, because you could be in a worse off position. You could be like so-and-so over in a third world country, like this isn't one here in the States, right? You could have that person's situation. Things could always be worse. It's almost like a threat. It's like we've been trained up with this threatening mentality that if you don't have an attitude of gratitude, if you don't count your blessings, you're going to attract worse into your situation, which just goes to prove that's the power of the mind. Because law of attraction is a real thing. But you can't fool the universe. The universe knows when you're unhappy, when you're sick, when you're not centered, when you have sacrificed yourself. The universe knows. And law of attraction does kick in. You do attract more problems. It's like you're on a downward spiral. It's like an undertow in the ocean. You're being sucked down and you can't get out and you can't manifest. Because manifestation, attracting better situations in your life, requires you're in alignment. And you're not. Because you won't leave the old system behind. You're still part of the machine. So it's count your blessings, never your needs. Number 4, we are trained up, and this should probably be in the number 1 position, especially here in America, that being poor is being lazy. Being poor is bad. being poor makes you lesser than or stupid, that you're not part of the club, that you should be ashamed of that it is your failure. It's your fault that you're poor. So it is directly linked to integrity and character and morality, which is the biggest con job of all. And I would even say the same thing for being burnt out, because there's all this shame about talking, about being burnt out. It's almost like being burnt out is being put in the same category as being poor always was. You're burnt out, you're poor, you're bad news. Don't talk about that. It's like taboo. You have a mental breakdown, don't talk about that. Hide it. Get on some good meds. Get a glass of wine and hush. So we're really self-sacrificing for the honor of overproduction, family values, and good citizenship. So that's what we've been brought up to believe. Now, if this sounds like anything you've been processing lately in your life, then this is the sermon for you. And it's very possible that if you're already on this journey, you've started taking some steps in the right direction, but you're still caught up. And I want to hear from you guys in the comment section, and please do support each other where you're caught up. Like I said, I'll get to everyone's questions after. If they're here on YouTube at Ask Ivy or one of my Facebook channels, I can see them. Okay, but after you realize it, what's happening, it's not enough to get you out. And that's what I'm going to get into next. So I tend to look at these mentalities, whether it's the maintenance of colonization, the patriarchy, capitalism, religious extremes, just religion in general. I tend to think of, and yes, I get the irony that this is church, but I tend to think of it as a cult. If it is inhibiting people, if it's bringing people down, if it's trapping people with fear. And that system is dying. We are now in a revolution. I've been talking about this for like 10 years to the public. Finally, it is here, but we are in the first few months of the revolution. We've been waiting 250 years for this revolution. It's here. Look at the astrology. I'm not going to get into all of it today. I have a bunch of old roots revivals that you can go back and watch where I talk about the revolution and the astrology behind it. Now it's here, but, and this is a massive but, this is going to be a slow process. Now we are moving at 10 times the speed karmically that we were in. Let's say January of 2025, things have sped up, but it's still, even at 10 times the speed, and I mean that literally, things are still taking a while. Okay, this is where we're having all these weird time warps, and we can feel like there's all this change, the winds of change. It's almost like a terrible foreboding, or the other shoe's about to drop, but things are going on. Maybe for some of you, you feel like it's exciting. Finally, the revolution is here. But at the same time, it's like Groundhog Day. Every day is just more of the same old nonsense. And we're getting deeper and deeper in the quicksand of self-sacrifice, of the toxicity of capitalism and the patriarchy. Well, it's a war. There are many battles within a war. So you have to be realistic about how long this is going to take, and don't focus on that. Focus on you. In all of this, if you can take your power back, be more self-empowered, you will be a bigger power player in all of it. But it's a slow process. And the first major warning signs that you are neglecting yourself are, number one, deterioration of your mental health. Number two, illness, disease. Number three, lack of motivation to change. You can think very pleasantly. You can see your future self. You can have a vision board. You can have Post-its up all over your house about changes you want to make, but the motivation to accomplish anything, like I said earlier, you're so burnt out. We are so exhausted. We can't get there. It takes energy to create something new. It takes energy to break a pattern. And it takes energy to create new habits. Guard it with your life. Guard your energy. This can also lead to escapism and avoidance. So maybe once you hit burnout on a regular basis, you were like, I need to drink more. I need to smoke more. I need more gummies. I need more porn. I need more food. I need more, I don't know, whatever it is for you, But it doesn't fix anything. It's a Band-Aid on an infection. Number four, deterioration of your relationships and connection to community in general. You're feeling more isolated. You're not feeling more isolated. You are more isolated. And we have to remember that maintaining relationships and like being decent company and actually having an exchange, that takes a lot of energy, especially if you're an introvert. It takes a lot of energy to build and maintain relationships. I would say this day and age takes even more energy because everyone else is burnt out. And you're like, oh, hell no. Okay, I can barely survive this myself. The last thing I need is to go hang out with a bunch of people who are also burnt out. And then you just drain what little life is left in each other. So communities are deteriorating. Number 5. This is the last one I'm going to get to today. If you guys want a part 2, let me know. You no longer recognize yourself. And I'm not just talking about the pooch from the cortisol and the back hump and the, hair loss and the weight gain and the bad skin and the, I'm not even just talking about the way you look. I mean, you feel like you're aging rapidly. It's not even just that. You don't recognize where your spirit went, where your soul went, or maybe you never felt connected to it. Even from childhood, it was taken away from you. You don't recognize who you are, who you authentically are. Now, I hope a lot of you deal with this young. Okay, there's a reason I speak on these things. Hopefully we can catch it when we're in our teenage years or our 20s. That would be amazing. But I think for most people out there, you're in your 50s or 60s before you even start to be like, okay, this is it. Like health is catching up with me. Everything is deteriorated. So we have to catch this earlier. But this question of who am I? Who am I? You should be asking that your whole life. Not when you're past middle age, or you're having a midlife crisis, or, it's catching up with you in your 30s that you're never going to maybe like be able to have children or buy a house, or you've got to get out of this machine. You've got to ask these questions for the rest of your life. Always. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Stay connected with yourself. Okay. How to choose oneself. How do you choose yourself over the endless, constant pelleting effects of the world's demands and the people in it, and even the systems that you lovingly got yourself wrapped up in, whether that be marriage or family, and now you're a parent, or a job a career you got yourself involved in that you thought you were going to love. You went to college, now you're in debt for. How do you get yourself out of these things? Number 1, keep emotion out of it. Okay, the first step is to break down the data. So without emotion, you're stepping back, you're looking at your life, you're analyzing it, and you're making a list of all the different areas where things are out of whack. All the things that bother you, all the things that irritate you, all the things that make you mad, all the things that are making you sick, all the areas where you feel numb or the areas that confuse you. Just break it down. This is a practical approach to finding solutions and figuring out what your healing goals are. So essentially, you need a game plan. You can do this with a therapist. You could do this with a notepad and pen. Okay. You could do this by calling in your guides and your ancestors to assist you in processing. You could do this by talking with a friend. Maybe this is a good time to have a glass of wine and put a little fire pit together and just vent. Take turns. You know, this is something I'm always saying, and I don't think anyone's like really hearing me and how valuable this is. If you have one decent person in your life who is an active listener or just even a good soundboard, you know, sometimes when we talk out loud, we figure things out ourselves, or if they can kind of hear you and reciprocate, take turns. I'm going to go first, you go second. You know, share this information. It does not have to be your bestie. Okay. This could even just be an acquaintance, but sharing and releasing is really, really important. And it saves you the bill on getting a therapist. Okay. A lot of people cannot afford medical attention on things like this, but it is a medical problem. I assure you. If it isn't now, it will be. So speak up. Get your game plan together. Once you see the data clearly about what's wrong, you could start to figure out how to fix it. Again, keep emotion out of it. You're going to have to be very disciplined with yourself if you want to get out of this rut. You're going to have to say, I don't want to get all emotional about the solutions and say, I can't. What will the consequences be? My family will fall apart. What if it doesn't work? What if my husband doesn't support me? You need to stay out of all that. You need to just create a list of goals and solutions to get there. That's it. Okay. Number 2, you need to stick to it. So this is where follow through comes in. You're going to have to stick to it. And as soon as you start doing it, we're going to see new level, new devil. New level, new devil means there are 5 different ways you're going to come under attack because you are about to level up. It is like a science. I have here on my YouTube channel at Ask Ivy, Fighting the Dark Part 1, Fighting the Dark Part 2. I think it's like my most popular mini class I ever did on here for free. It breaks down the 5 different ways you're going to come under attack. Attacks, tests, blocks, obstacles. Who's going to enter your life to cause problems? What types of things are going to start to fall apart? It's going to make you feel like you are in a boat surrounded by sharks. That's a given. That comes with every level up you will ever have for the rest of your life. So you may as well get used to it because it's not going anywhere. And it's always been there. So this isn't your first time around the block, but this is a big one. Okay, so be prepared to deal with the blocks, the tests, the obstacles, but stick to your plan to make changes in your life. Number 3, have grace, not punishment toward yourself. The way we talk to ourselves is so nasty. Like we're so nasty to ourselves. I would never speak to my cat on her most annoying day the way I talk to myself every day in my head, because the way my parents talk to me, because the way teachers talk to me, because the way racists talk to me when I was little. I mean, the stuff I hear, my own inner dialogue is so toxic. And this is after years of therapy and working on it every day and being mindful and giving self-love and doing all the programs. I mean, I've done all the things, but it has a way of persisting when you are about to get free, when you are about to level up. That voice gets louder, that nastiness gets more intense. It's like crabgrass, it just comes out of nowhere, starts to mess with your dreams. You're having nightmares. Okay, stealing your rest, stealing your peace. You must be your biggest advocate. You must have grace when you fall off the wagon, when you don't accomplish what you meant to, When you start feeling like you're failing again or you're slipping backward, have grace with yourself. No one else can give it to you. Okay? Take it. And don't forget, when you talk to yourself in a nasty way, when you're not mindful about the way you speak to yourself in your head, that's how you got here. That's how you got in this problem in the first place. That's how we got into this rut as a world, as a society, okay, as a people, without empathy, without soul. It's from that nasty inner dialogue that we adopted from the way we were being talked to. Okay, and the way you heard your parents talk to themselves, the way your parents abused themselves in these systems. You watched that. You adopted that as your identity. You gotta sometimes go back, okay, with the grace and the self-talk. So don't be surprised if you derail from time to time and you have to kind of take a pause from what you're doing and heal this and a little bit of shadow work here, take a breath, take a break, get back on track. Just always make sure you get back up on the horse. Number 4, you need to detox from others who will never do this work. They will never upgrade in life. They're the same now at 65, 70 years old that they were at 12 and 22 and 36 and 45. They will never do this work. You need to stop dealing with those people in the way that you were. If they are negatively influencing you to stay stuck, you're going to have to set boundaries there, period. Does that mean walking away? I don't know. Depends on your situation. Possibly. And that leads me into number 5. Make new community. Find other like-minded people. We don't all have to be perfect. They don't have to be at the same stage as you. You know, don't be intimidated by people who are doing better at this than you. Just like-minded community in general. There are many levels to this, but make new friends. Get involved in new community. Stay in any atmosphere, just like us meeting here for Roots Revival, right? For our monthly sermon. Just even this is a community. Stay involved with the like-minded in whatever atmospheres you feel it is assisting you in being more authentic to your needs, to your healing, to your recovery. Number 6, celebrate all of your wins before bed. This has been huge for me. I like to, my idea of pampering myself so that I'm not like spending a lot of money or having to go anywhere, you know, and I don't have to do anything with this. I'm just sitting in my bed and I'm just praising myself for everything I accomplished. And you do this before you fall asleep or before you start watching your shows at night. You're still lucid enough to really connect and be mindful about what you're doing, but just stop at the end of every day and be like, what did I do today that was different? What did I achieve today? You know, how did I make myself proud today? And I never had a parent teach me to do that. I never had anyone talk to me in that way. I learned that in reparenting myself, I was going to sort of create this habit of affirmation. And it has helped me to really recognize that it doesn't have to be big stuff. Oh, I hit a goal with my business today. It's more like the big things are, I was having a negative thought and it was dysregulating my nervous system and I was getting stressed and I said, hell no, and I stopped. I took a deep breath, I repositioned myself, and I detached from whatever I was allowing to invade my energy. I got back up on the throne, I straightened my crown, and I took my power back. And that could be something I did all mentally, all emotionally. Maybe on the outside, no one even knew I was going through anything. That is a win. Okay, that's bigger than any big financial win or breakthrough or da-da-da-da-da. So it's like, that's what I've learned, is it's recognizing, and if you don't stop at the end of the day, you're never going to notice these things. I really don't think so, because we are so busy. And you're probably not going to get entirely out of that system, for a while or ever. And that's okay. We can be in the system, but learn how to be a better player within that system, not get played. So you stop at the end of the day, and then you're able to dedicate maybe 10, 15 minutes to this. And you notice the thoughts you had, the way you shifted your position in something, the way you cut someone off, the way you turned off that social media before you got sucked into a rabbit hole or something negative, the way you followed through with a plan that you really didn't want to follow through with. And it was an amazing time once you got there. And that was a big goal for you, was to push through and show up. I don't care how big or small, but recognizing it every day is going to be required, okay, to restore that energy that you've lost to accomplish the change that needs to happen. So celebrate your wins. I would also say celebrate with other people. I mean, I see anything, if I'm going to get on social media, and I have to every day because I run businesses, but like, if I'm going to get on social media, I'm telling you, I'm doing one thing on there. I'm doing one thing. If you ever see me in a comment section, I'm doing one thing. I am looking for things to celebrate for other people. Every single graduation hat I see, you know what I mean? Every single post on someone having a win. Everything where someone is saying, I quit smoking 3 weeks ago. It's week 3. I don't care what it is. Somebody posts a picture of a flower, a deer, you know what I mean? Their new car. I am on it. I am on it. I am hearting it. I am dropping a comment. This is not hard, but we need to feed that energy. Okay, stay in that vibe. That is alignment. So celebrate other people's wins as well. Number 7. When you're having a bad day on this, or a bad week, or a bad month, or a bad year, whatever, call in your spirit team. You came to Earth with 2 angels, 5 guides, a boatload of ancestors, your deceased loved ones and pets. It's not that hard. You were never meant to do this alone. Society has programmed you in the cult to believe you're meant to do it alone. Okay, because all of these systems are based on isolation, or they couldn't win. You are not here to do this alone. Call in your helpers. You don't know who your helpers are? I have up on the website, I have coffee with your angels, meet your guides, start talking through mediumship to your ancestors, your deceased loved ones, create an altar, get educated, and start the conversations with them. They're here to help you. That is all they're ever really trying to do. When you're seeing signs and synchronicities and numbers and, the dreams, the visit dreams, the mediumship activating, even the astrology, everything is here for you, to help you to do this. You are not doing this alone. That's an illusion. You may not be using your resources, though. That's a problem, and you can fix it. Okay, and last but not least, what, mama? What, mama? I hear you, honey. I'm almost done. Wanna go outside? Okay, number 8, last but not least, and then I'm going to get into these questions. If you have not posted your question, please do so now. Please post your prayer and healing requests, and feel free to drop a donation. Always appreciated. Give this video a thumbs up, drop a comment of any kind. It helps me out in the algorithm, and please do subscribe. So last but not least, share what you know. Your healing journey matters. I want to hashtag that. Your healing journey matters. This is huge. Breaking out of the matrix, right? Getting out of this machine. Being part of the revolution in a significant way. you accomplish this for yourself. And you ultimately are supposed to give it out to others. Your wisdom, your strength, the tricks that work for you. I gave you one of my tricks earlier in tonight's sermon. Before you go to bed, pat yourself on the back. If that only helps 2 people, I just helped 2 people. I just changed the lives of 2 people. Okay. So we are expected by the universe to go through hardship. Step number 1. Number 2 is alchemize it, transmute it from pain to power. And number 3 is give it out. So don't hoard what you know. Share your journey and make it colorful. Have fun with it. That's the fun part. That's like publishing your own book. I don't care if you go publish your own book. You know what I mean? Maybe that's something you need to do. Maybe that's a message here for someone tonight. But you're supposed to give it out. And the point of giving it out is to hit that 3rd level, to receive the good karma and blessings that come from hitting that 3rd level, which is a mastery. You become the queen, you become the king, you become the lender, never the borrower. Your cup runneth over. Okay. And you're giving permission. You're giving permission to other people who are on a similar journey to you. That's your ministry. They'll be drawn to you. They'll be put in alignment with you. They'll cross your social media to see what you have to say about it. It's not work. It's just talking. It's just sharing. It's not complicated. It's free. Okay. I'm going to get into questions and comments and start posting them here. Again, if you guys are on Instagram or TikTok, I'm sorry, but I'm producing tonight. Hey, Seuss, knock it off. Thank you. I am needing your questions and comments here on YouTube at Ask Ivy or on one of my Facebook channels, because it's the only way I can see it in the feed. If anyone wants to moderate, move it over here to the YouTube or Facebook feed, that would be great. I just want to cover the questions I answered earlier, the ones that came in prior to tonight, the 4 that I read off at the beginning of tonight's service. Fireworks are back. Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. They'll be running fireworks from now until like past Halloween. I don't know what the enthusiasm is. I think if you've seen one, you've seen them all, right? So the first question that I had mentioned earlier was, how do you even know what you really want when the noise of others is so loud? And I added to that, and it's been there forever. It's been there for so long. You can't even hear yourself. Noise is an actual torture device. So we know this from like war crimes, and, the police use it, and it is a form of torture. A lot of abusive men who confess the ways that they were like torturing their wives, one of the things they did was to make noise to steal their sleep and their rest and their peace of mind. People admit to doing this all the time. It is a functional tool of oppression, period. So you need to identify that all that noise, some of it is there on purpose. Some of it is not coming from others around you you should love. They're toxic. They're the problem. They've got you right where they want you. You can't even think. You don't even know what you need or want or who you are anymore. So be suspicious. Be suspicious. I would. Why is it so loud? Then you have to take ownership of yourself. You have to take responsibility and hold yourself accountable. Where am I not setting proper boundaries? Where am I centering other people instead of myself? Where am I overreaching? Where am I a martyr? Where am I a victim? And if you have to throw some money at the problem and talk to a therapist, so be it. But go down that rabbit hole. Get answers to these questions, because you're not going to be able to shut off the noise until you know where it's coming from, right? Okay, so easy enough once you have those answers, I would say, to get control through boundary setting. And that includes with yourself. Most importantly, how do you deal with guilt of telling other people or situations no? Instead of getting into that tonight, I have the second class that you guys, the second sermon that you guys voted on the poll, which is how to stop, how to let go of guilt. That's what it's going to be titled, how to let go of guilt. And I'll be talking about that in July. Okay. The third question was, is choosing myself going to mean walking away from people you love? Possibly. I mean, like I said, if they're especially older and stuck in their ways, a lot of the older generations are incredibly disappointing. I mean, they have made it crystal clear that they don't plan to do the work. And they have made it crystal clear that they would like to see you stuck in the same system they will die in. They justify it. They vote for it. They want it. You know, is that love? Maybe you need to redefine what loving is, or what loving somebody is, you know, and try to work on maybe not showing that type of love and dedication to people who aren't dedicated to you and don't love you in the same way. Okay. I'm not saying there isn't love there, but redefine it. By universal standards, you are held accountable karmically for loving yourself. And if that means keeping people like that around who are going to be toxic for you, then you're not doing that. So you're not authentically loving them if you can't even love yourself. And there will be negative karmic kickback for that. So try not to worry too much about the people you love, okay, or the people who love you. Just get the work done, and that part will reveal itself in time. It is so true, though, that the second we go to level up, or the second we set a boundary, masks come off. I mean, some people are not going to like it. They're not going to like that you are about to kind of become this butterfly and get your freedom. Okay, so butterflies cannot hang out with caterpillars, as they say on all the cute little memes. And number 4, the question was, what practices help you tune back into your own needs and intuition? Well, you know, getting in touch with your intuitive intelligence. I have the psychic mediumship course. I would highly recommend not getting into deep states of meditation. You don't need to go off into out at sea with that. But something like quiet time at the end of the day, like I talked about, to process your thoughts. Motion meditation, meaning while you're driving, while you're walking, maybe drumming. You know, we're bringing back our drum circles here. Drumming, getting involved in community with other people who are mindful. That's addictive energy. It really is. It's like going to the gym. Why are your workouts so good at the gym? And they cannot compare to what you would do in your living room or in your basement at home. Why is that? Because energy feeds energy. Okay. So be around other people that are like-minded. That will help you to understand more of your own needs and intuition. And then just go through the process of what I talked about earlier. Okay, in this sermon, especially where we talked about step number 1, just keep your emotion out of it and collect the data, right? Organize the data, write down what's not working, and then come up with a game plan. That will help you put into focus, and you've probably never done that in your entire life, right? What you need, what isn't working, where you feel numb, where you feel anger and aggression. Don't forget that when we are out of alignment, one of the first things we're going to feel is agitation, dysregulated nervous system, and then it goes into exhaustion. Feel like I'm going to, you know, hit the floor like a ton of bricks. So those are all indicators. But anyways, we talked about that earlier. Let me see if we have any questions or comments in here. Okay. Bethany says, I am really glad that there's a gathering tonight. I'm looking forward to being in community. Thank you. I'm so happy to have you here, Bethany. I'm really glad we could do this tonight. Also, especially with it being Father's Day, we're seeing so much with that patriarchal conditioning. I got attacked by some older ladies who I think are like second cousins to me or something. I don't know, because I posted that for women and men who are suffering on a day like Father's Day, helping to heal from the damage that they've been through. They didn't like that. They were very, very triggered by that, that I shouldn't be talking like that. This is a day to honor men, you know? So, I mean, we see on a day like today, how toxic, you know, people out there are and how stuck they are. And it's almost like, I mean, I lose hope. It was block, whether they're family or not. I don't care who they are. I don't even really know them, but they have my last name. So I'm assuming, right? All Riveras. You know, you have to, again, because I was looking forward to tonight too. I was like block, and then tonight I get to be with my community. I get to be with the like-minded. I get to be with people who are actually doing the work, you know? And it's something to celebrate because we're not going to have to reincarnate like they will and do this all over again. And we're not taking other people down with us. You know, I've broken those generational curses. I'm helping other people to get to the light, you know, to their enlightenment. And this is what we need, especially that Bethany, that brings up a good point. On days that you know are going to be difficult for you, this is for everyone, of course, but like birthdays, holidays, death dates, Father's Day, Mother's Day. I mean, whatever is going to trigger you. I'm triggered by things like Memorial Day, Flag Day, President's Day. I get triggered by stuff like that too. But, you know, on those days where you know it's going to be hard because you are breaking free from those toxic systems, you're healing, have a game plan about how you're going to deal with it. You know, my birthday's in a couple days. 46, and I will have to, because those are always hard days for me because of the way I grew up, I will have a full plan. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I will have a full plan on what I'm going to be doing for that day. Maybe even before, you know, like the day before. And I keep myself busy. I surround myself with people who love me. I surround myself with things that I love. You know, what have I been wanting to treat myself to? Always have a game plan so you're never caught off guard during those hard times. So we have Vanessa says, Vanessa, yes, absolutely. I'm the oldest daughter. And yes, that's what I have done. Took care of my dad. I feel like I do it in all relationships. I'm always taking care of people. Thank you for sharing that, Vanessa. So Vanessa, it's probably going to be a big deal for you to tune in July when we do letting go of guilt. You know, because it's going to be very much about this. Once it's ingrained in you in that way, you can feel shame for not giving to someone when you could. And just because you could doesn't mean you should, you know, but there's no sense of boundaries there because we weren't taught boundaries, especially when you were caretaking over your siblings and your parents. You weren't taught boundaries. That would not benefit them to have taught you boundaries. Bethany says, you need a game plan. Thank you for helping me find a game plan. Yes, you're welcome. Absolutely. And again, if you guys want a part 2 to any of this, just let me know what you would like to see included in it. But yes, you must have a game plan. Look at the data, keep emotion out of it, create a game plan. That's number 1. Vanessa says, prayers and healing for my health and spiritual guidance. Absolutely, Vanessa, sent. Everyone, please post your prayer and healing requests. And again, if you're watching this and it's published, I'll be checking for 2 weeks. Gail says, hi, babe. Hi, Gail. Vanessa said, happy early birthday. Thank you. And Vanessa says, yes, I'll be watching in July. Okay, those are all the messages that I can see over here because of StreamYard. So if you guys have posted your questions on other platforms, I will try to get to them. But once the sermon is over, I can't always see the comment feed. So I'll do my best. But thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thank you for supporting one another. I am doing my shows weekly for those of you who watch my Ask Ivy show or the Unbound Sage or my Dear Ivy Advice show. I have upped my game. I've been doing shows for a long time, over a decade, but I have never done this many. So thank you. The demand has been there. It's been absolutely amazing, but I am now doing 1 to 2 shows per week, and you can definitely catch me every Wednesday. So follow me on any of these platforms for that. I will see you guys back here for another Roots Revival Interfaith sermon in July, and that one will be letting go of guilt, how to move forward. I love you guys, and happy Father's Day to all the great dads out there.